Welcome to The Word and the Struggle. I'm Laurisa White Reyes, and we have conversations about the Bible here and related topics. I started this a couple of years ago, but I've only done a few. It's kind of been hit and miss. Lots of things going on in my life. I'm still trying to get this functioning, so I thought I'd post a short video today. Today we're actually going to be talking, I'm going to be sharing a book review with you, a very good book called Stop in the Name of God by Charlie Kirk. Yep, I just finished reading this a few days ago. I ordered it right after it became available. As you know, back in, I believe it was October, or thereabouts, Charlie Kirk was martyred, and I use that word specifically. He was martyred. He was at a university in Utah, and he was out speaking to students, as he always does, and somebody shot and killed him. Won't go into all the details of that, but we know that shortly before this occurred, he was actually testifying to the crowd of his belief in Jesus Christ. He was a devout Christian, father of two, a good man trying to do good in the world. And I know there's a lot of people, particularly on the left, who didn't like what he had to say. I happen to have agreed with most of what he said. He was a God-fearing man. And so when I heard about this book that he'd written before he died, and then the book came out shortly thereafter, published by Winning Team Publishing, which I think is the Donald Trump Jr. publishing house. The subtitle is Why Honoring the Sabbath Will Transform Your Life. It's a very interesting book. So I, too, am a devout Christian. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I actually keep the Sabbath day holy. I have gone to church pretty much every Sunday my entire life. And Sundays are my Sabbath. And I was taught that you don't go shopping on Sunday. You don't go to sports events on Sunday. You don't do anything that is without the family. The church, you go to church, you worship, you do service, you take naps because it is the day of rest, and you spend time with the family. I remember specifically as must have been like 6 or 7 years old when I was really young. We used to go to church, and then we'd go to get ice cream at Foster's. And I used to love the ice cream dipped in chocolate because it would get all crispy and crunchy, and it was my favorite. But somehow my dad came to an understanding that he was breaking the Sabbath day by doing that, because the law for the Sabbath, it comes from the book of Exodus and the book of Leviticus, and it's part of the 10 Commandments that Moses received from God after he led the children of Israel out of Egypt, out of slavery in Egypt. And I'm going to talk about a couple of things I really think really stood out to me in reading his book, things that I really hadn't thought of. So in Exodus, he points out in Exodus 20 that remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, and the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God, and on it you shall not do any work. And it goes on to say that your servants will not work, your cattle will not work, your children will not work, your slaves will not work. Nobody is supposed to work. And I was taught that meant that you should not cause other people to work. So when we go to the store, right, you have people that are stocking the shelves, you have people that are ringing you up at the register. And so when you are going to the store, you are causing other people to break the Sabbath. That's what I was taught. The Sabbath in my church, we take people who are actively members of my church who take their faith seriously. Also, most of them take the Sabbath pretty seriously as well. We are taught in the church that each of us need to decide for ourselves how we keep the Sabbath day holy. I mean, there's definitely suggestions given as to what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, but we are certainly not Pharisees. There's nobody who's saying, here's a list of things you should and shouldn't do. And there are certainly families who do participate in sporting events. And I mean, there have been a few times when my kids have been in theater, when we've gone and my kids have acted in plays that have happened to be on Sunday, or there's been some scouting events. So, I used to be a lot more strict about it when my kids were very young. I think that was because I had this idea that it was a sin, it's a sin to break the Sabbath. And of course it is, because it is a 10 commandment, one of the 10 commandments. But Charlie Kirk mentions a couple of things in this book that really changed my mindset. Really, I did kind of loosen up when my kids got older and I got older. I loosened up a little bit to the point of like, let's keep the Sabbath day holy. That's the day of worship. It's the day of rest for mind and body. It's a day of service. There are certain things that I prefer not to do on Sunday. But that doesn't mean like my husband and I always agree on everything. But when we're traveling, we will eat out, but we don't eat out on Sundays otherwise. I don't go to the store unless there's an absolute emergency. I always call it the ox and the mire situation, right? Anyway, one of the things Charlie Kirk mentions in here is that in Deuteronomy, it says something a little different. When Moses is talking to the people about keeping the Sabbath day holy, he goes into a slightly different direction than just don't work. He mentions that the Sabbath day is meant to remind the people that they were once slaves in Egypt and they are slaves no more, that they are a free people. And something he says several times in the book is that the Sabbath, he reminds Jesus said the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. And that only slaves work 7 days a week. So taking a day off to rest our minds and our bodies and our souls is because we do that because we are free. We are free people. That's not necessarily about religion. That's not necessarily about keeping a commandment. We, particularly here in the West, in the United States, we are free. We do not and should not work 7 days a week. And he's like, what are you doing that's keeping you from keeping the Sabbath day? It's like, are you so attached to something, so enslaved to something in your life that you cannot take a day off? I thought that was really poignant. Like we can get so busy in our lives. We are busy sending our kids to theater and music lessons and sports and homework, schoolwork. Did you do your schoolwork every day? We might be busy with our own schoolwork if we're in school. We have jobs and we're thinking. We might be busy with our own schoolwork if we're in school. We have jobs and we're things at home. Oh my gosh, we got to mow the lawn. We got to fix the car. We got to do all of this. Are we slaves in our own lives? Taking a day off reminds us that we are free. I loved that. There's a whole chapter in this book about are Christians obligated to keep the Sabbath day? Because I guess there's this debate. I didn't know this, but I guess there's this ongoing debate among Christians going way beginning that, Jesus said, I am here, I've come to fulfill the law, not destroy the law. And so many Christians, there was this debate early on about, there was a group of Christians, early group of Christians. The first Christians were all Jewish. And when the Gentiles started becoming Christians, there was this debate between Peter and Paul as to whether or not Christians, new Christians, should become Jewish, should observe the Jewish law. And of course, Paul said, no, that doesn't apply. Jesus fulfilled the law. And so the law has no effect anymore. They are, in effect, living a higher law. So that was the question is, does the law of Moses still apply? And I guess it's still an ongoing debate because the 10 Commandments are, I guess, part of the law of Moses. And of course, we as modern Christians do not follow 99% of the law of Moses, right? Hey, this is how you should kill a cow. This is how you should do all of this. There's lots of things that just don't apply to us. But I have the argument that the 10 Commandments still apply, that the 10 Commandments are not the same as the rest of the law of Moses. They were given separately. They were given first. And the 10 Commandments is what the entire Western civilization is founded upon. If it weren't for the 10 Commandments, we would probably still be slaughtering each other. Well, we are still slaughtering each other, but still having gladiators in Roman Colosseums kind of thing. But it's the 10 Commandments that our society is founded upon, that people have equal rights, that people deserve to be treated well, that it's wrong to kill people, it's wrong to lie, it's wrong to cheat on your spouse, right? If we were to throw those 10 Commandments away, our society, I think, would crumble. Well, the Sabbath day is one of those 10 Commandments. And so my argument, and I think his argument, is also that, yes, the 10 Commandments still do apply to us as Christians today. Because, not necessarily because it's a sin and we're going to go to hell if we break the Sabbath, but that it is something that sets us apart, that makes us a better people. Taking that day off to rest and to worship is what God expects us to do. Not because he expects it and we have to follow it, but because it is a blessing. And that's something else that Charlie Kirk talks a lot about, that the Sabbath is a blessing to us. It is a gift. It is not a chore. It's not a burden. It is a gift. God has said, here is a day to rest. And if we don't do that, we are ignoring a very beautiful gift that God gave us. He also talks a lot about how the Sabbath day started at the very beginning of creation. God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. And so he set the precedence. He set the pattern for us to follow. If God needed to rest, or even desired to rest, we are made in his image, and we need to rest as well. And he also points out that God did not rest because he was tired or exhausted or worn out. He rested because he was finished. And it's like, I've made the universe, and it's a wonderful thing, and I'm going to take a break. And I could totally relate to that, because as a writer, when writers write a book and you finish it, we're told that you need to put it away, like to put it in a drawer, close the file, don't think about it for a while. And it's like this feeling of it's finished, and you take a break from it, you step away from it and take a breather, before you go back and start editing. So I could totally relate to that. God rested because he was finished and his work was good. So he took a step back, took a breather, and we need to do the same. Of course, I'm only hitting on a few important things. It's interesting because he talks about how he chooses a Saturday as his Sabbath. He is not so interested in which day of the week is the correct Sabbath, because of course that varies from religion to religion. Seventh-day Adventists and Jewish people, and there's a lot of people who take, even my church, Sundays are the Sabbath day. His point is it's not so much about which day you take a Sabbath, but that you take a Sabbath and you make it work with your schedule. Now, obviously for me, Sunday is our Sabbath because that's when we go to church. That's when all of our churchy stuff happens. Our society is kind of set up really well for Sundays to be a good Sabbath. If you ever go to Utah, I warn you, if you go visit Utah, don't expect to do much on Sundays because almost everything is closed on Sundays, because the entire state still observes the Sabbath, which is actually kind of a nice thing. It really is. So that is my review of this book in a nutshell. I am so sad that Charlie has left us. He is a martyr, in my opinion. He was a hero. And when I was teaching and got texts when he got shot, and I was in shock for a long time. He did not deserve to die. And quite frankly, for the people that don't like him, either they didn't listen carefully to what he said, or they're way out there on the far end of the universe, in my opinion, because the thing good, just honest to goodness, good. But he left this message behind. And he's written other books, but this, in my opinion, is Charlie Kirk's crowning achievement. This is the most important message he could have left behind for us to read. And the message is not just for Christians, because his complaint is that too many Christians do not honor the Sabbath day. Even if they go to church, they're not keeping the Sabbath day holy. But he's also writing to non-Christians, just regular people who do not necessarily even believe in God. You do not necessarily even have to be a believer to understand the value of taking a day off and resting. So this book is for everyone to read. Whether you are a believer or not, I think it is very, very valuable. My son, who I love dearly, but he is one of those 7 days a week, go all the time. And I sent it to him because I think he would benefit from taking a day off now and then. I don't know what I would do without my Sunday naps, I'll tell you. Although the older I get, the more I seem to be napping on days that aren't Sundays too. Anyway, so that is my review. I hope that you will enjoy it. It's available on Amazon. Pretty much, I think I bought my copy at Barnes & Noble. I highly recommend it. 5 stars, 5 stars. I have no complaints about this book. It is fantastic. And that's all I have to say for now.